Good morning, Carl, and welcome to the 50th video that I'm recording for you. Big 50. Well, welcome to you from Recording Studio Oxford, and in celebration I seem to have a much better system of lighting because your father was being a bit silly previously. Well, and appropriately enough, for the 50th video, we come to the end of the chapter of the White Seal. But remember, when we last left Kotick, he had found the secret island that only the sea cows are able to access and that are far away from men and where the seals would be safe. And he has now just returned, and his mate-to-be sees that he has found his quest in his eyes. Now, shall we begin? But the Holushiki and Sea Catch, his father, and all the other seals laughed at him when he told them what he had discovered. And a young seal about his own age said, "That is all very well, Kotick, but you can't come from no one knows where and order us all off like this. Remember, we've been fighting for our nurseries, and that's a thing you never did. You preferred prowling about in the sea." The other seals laughed at this, and a young seal began twisting his head from side to side. He had just married this year and was making a very great big fuss about it. "I've no nursery to fight for," said Kotick. "I only want to show you a place where you all will be safe. What's the use of fighting?" "Well, if you're trying to back out, of course I've no more to say," said the young seal with an ugly chuckle. "Will you come with me if I win?" said Kotick, and a green light came into his eye, for he was very angry at having to fight at all. "Very good," said the young seal carelessly. "If you win, I'll come." He had no time to change his mind, for Kotick's head was out and his teeth sunk into the blubber of the young seal's neck. Then he threw himself back on his haunches and hauled his enemy down to the beach and shook him and knocked him over. Then Kotick roared to the seals, "I've done my best for you these 5 seasons past. I've found you the island where you will be safe, but unless your heads are dragged off your silly necks you won't believe. I'm going to teach you now. Look out for yourselves." Limmershin told me that never in his life, and Limmershin sees 10,000 big seals fighting every year, never in all his little life did he see anything like Kotick's charge into the nurseries. He flung himself at the biggest sea catch he could find, and caught him by the throat, and choked him, and bumped him too, and banged him till he had grunted for mercy. Then he threw him aside and attacked the next. You see, Kotick had never fasted for 4 months, as the big seals did every year, and his deep-sea swimming trips had kept him in perfect condition. And best of all, he had never fought before. His curly white mane stood up with rage, and his eyes flamed, and his big dog teeth glistened, and he was splendid to look at. Old Sea Catch, his father, saw him tearing past, hauling the grizzled old seals about as though they had been halibut, and upsetting the young bachelors in all directions. And Sea Catch gave a roar and shouted, "He may be a fool, but he's the best fighter on the beaches. Don't tackle your father, my son, he's with you." Kotick roared another, and old Sea Catch waddled in with his mustache and end blowing like a locomotive. While Matkan, the seal that was going to marry Kotick, cowered down and admired their menfolk. It was a gorgeous fight, for the two fought as long as there was a seal that dared lift up his head, and when there were none, they paraded grandly up and down the beach, side by side, bellowing. At night, just as the northern lights were winking and flashing through the fog, Kotick climbed a bare rock and looked down at the scattered nurseries and the torn and bleeding seals. "Now," he said, "I've taught you your lesson." "My wig," said old Sea Catch, boosting himself stiffly, for he was fearfully mauled. "The killer whale himself could not have cut them up worse. Son, I am proud of you, and what is more, I will come with you to your island, if there is such a place." "Here, you fat pigs of the sea, who comes with me now to Sea Cow's tunnel? Answer, or shall teach you again," roared Kotick. There was a murmur like the ripple of the tide all the way up and down the beaches. "We will come," said thousands of tired voices. "We will follow Kotick, the white seal." Then Kotick dropped his head between his shoulders and shut his eyes proudly. He was not a white seal anymore, but red from head to tail, and all the same he would have scorned to look or touch one of his wounds. A week later, he and his army, nearly 10,000 Holushiki and old seals, went away north to the Sea Cow's tunnel, Kotick leading them, and the seals that stayed at Novastoshnah called them idiots. But the next spring, when they all met off the fishing banks of the Pacific, Kotick seals told such tales of the new beaches beyond Sea Cow's tunnel that more and more seals left Novastoshnah. Of course, it was not all done at once, for seals are not very clever, and they need a long time to turn things over in their mind. But year after year, more seals went away from Novastoshnah and Lukanum and the other nurseries, and the quiet sheltered beaches where Kotick sits all summer through, getting bigger and fatter and stronger each year, while the Holushiki play around him in that sea where no man comes. Well, there we reach the end of the tale of the white seal, Carl, and I very much like this one, and I particularly like that when Kotick needed him, His father, old Sea Catch, came to him. And if you ever find your own island and need someone to help you fight by your side, call on your old father. And I'll come for you, no matter where you are. I'll end the story then with the deep song of Lucanon. This is the great deep sea song that all the St. Paul seals sing when they're heading back to their beaches in the summer. It's a very sort of a seal national anthem. I met my mates in the morning, and oh, but I am old. Where roaring on the ledges the summer groundswell rolled. I heard them lift the chorus that drowned the breakers' song. The beaches of Lucanon, 2,000,000 voices strong. The song of pleasant stations beside the salt lagoons, the song of blowing squadrons that shuffle down the dunes, the song of midnight dances that churn the sea to flame, the beaches of Lucanon before the sealers came. I met my mates in the morning, I never met them more. They came and went in legions that all darkened the shore, and o'er the foam-flecked offing as far as the voice could reach, we hauled the landing parties and we sang them up the beach. The beaches of Lucanon are the winter wheat so tall, the dripping crinkled lichens and the sea fog drenching all, the platform of our playground all shining smooth and worn, the beaches of Lucanon, the home where we were born. I met my mates in the morning, a broken scattered band, men shoot us in the water and club us on the land, men and drive us to the salt house like silly sheep and tame, and still we sing Lucanon before the sealers came. Wheel down to southward, O Guva Ruska go, and tell the deep sea viceroys the story of our woe. Yea, empty as a shark's egg the tempest flings ashore, the beaches of Lucanon shall know their sons no more. It's a rather sad song, but it's also a very good one. And as I said, Carl, I hope you find your island someday. Until the next time, and I love you to pieces.